people coming on, that would be really helpful. So this is a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about. It's important to really ground the work of participatory budgeting in the 2020 Black Lives Matter demonstrations after the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officers in 2020, and a lot of community and organizing around how cities are going to respond to how policing negatively impacts communities, particularly communities of color, Black and BIPOC communities. Seattle decided to do a research report, Black Variance Research Project, and funded it for $3 million. To better understand these three main questions: what creates true community safety, what creates true community health, what do we need to thrive? What came from that report was stop causing harm, create inclusive policies, follow Black leadership, pay community for their expertise, and invest in thriving solutions. These became the backbone of what the PB process would become, so that ultimately we had $27.25 million set aside to invest in the priority areas for community members. And those priority areas were housing and physical spaces, mental health, youth and children, economic development, crisis and wellness. The way the PB process was set up from the beginning, it was really supported by three major groups, if you want to think about it that way. The Office for Civil Rights, the Participatory Budgeting Project, and the community at large, the Seattle community. The Office for Civil Rights role was to select the consultant, which was participatory budgeting process, convene and facilitate an interdepartmental team that would help support the work across different departments in the PB process, and monitor contract deliverables from the participatory budgeting project. The Participatory Budgeting Project, their focus was in establishing and implementing a PB process in whole in Seattle. They were also tasked with hiring and recruiting local staff and engaging community members. A big part of what they were doing was also running an online platform where ideas were collected, community was able to track the process, and the voting process was able to take place. And then the community role, which was really tethered to Participatory Budgeting Project, was to develop the PB rules, engage with other community members, brainstorm and produce ideas and proposals, and vote on those proposals to move forward with. And if I'm going too fast, or if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or let me know. I just wanted to focus on the community a bit. So the community initially looked like this. There were 7 steering committee members, there were budget delegates, there were lived experience and outreach work group members, There were restorative and accountability work group members. There were youth fellows. And again, there were the broader community that was engaged with all the different committees to participate and yeah, just be a part of the PB process. And this was intentionally designed to ensure that we had community members who typically aren't engaged in this process. So what ended up, what this looked like, a general overview, just so there's a bit more context, is that initially in 2021, this was supposed to be in the Department of Neighborhoods, and it was supposed to be run internally. This shifted to a third-party administrative process, and it was shifted to the Office for Civil Rights. Additionally, you know, the PB, the organization that would do the work was selected in early 2021, but it took until July of 2021 to move forward with the participatory budget project, and we eventually worked on producing proposals in fall of 2023, and that's that's the overall timeline from around 2020, 2021 to 2023. And right now we are in the implementation portion of the process. Just to restate it, this is what the timeline looked like. There were specific phases in the PB process. Initially in July of 2022, it was the planning phase. In May of 2023 was the design. July through August, we collected ideas from the broader community. Proposal development, where those ideas were brought down to specific proposals, happened from August to October of 2023. And the vote, where the broader community voted on the specific proposals, was from October through November of 2023. The winning proposals were Native Youth Past, Present, Future, People Not Police Crisis Response Team, 24/7 Public Restrooms, Urban Farming and Food Equity, Housing Support, and then Housing Support for Youth. These 6 proposals got the most votes from community members during the voting process. And these are the proposals that the City of Seattle will be moving forward with into implementation. So implementation, I'll go over what that will look like, and the interdepartmental team, which is crucial for it. Just generally speaking, the implementation is making sure that the proposals that were developed and voted by community members can move into action through the city. The city can put those into actions, you know, in alignment with the rules and laws that we have, and that includes making sure that the council approves the funds, moving the $27.25 million going to the specific departments that will be holding that work. Critical to this, as I've mentioned, is the interdepartmental team, or IDT. And the main goals of the IDT is to maintain the spirit and intention of community, develop PB proposals through implementation, and to ensure transparent, fair, and equitable access to tracking and future involvement opportunities for impacted communities. We want to make sure that everything is transparent and people are aware of it. And then we also want to make sure that we build clear, uniform, and accessible PB request for proposal guidelines. So as work is being put out there for people to bid to do the work, we want to make sure that it's easy to understand, that it's clear, that it's uniform, and we can move forward with that work. So who's a part of this interdepartmental team? What is the makeup and what's the work? The interdepartmental team meets twice a month for an hour. I'll go a little deeper on what the work is and has been, but the representation is community reps, so folks who applied to be folks who have been a part of the PB process prior to the implementation phase of it, were eligible to apply to be community reps. We have 6 community reps that are coming to the interdepartmental meetings. We also have city departments who will be holding the work, the different work, and I'll go into which departments are doing that in the future slide. We also have a city budget office representative, CBO, somebody who is familiar with putting together legislation and works, and it's a part of the state government, the executive team that works with different departments to make sure that the budget that we're able to put together a good budget. We also have a mayor's office representative. We have central staff representatives, and they work with council just to make sure that there's a level of transparency. And of course, we also have the Office for Civil Rights present. We're the conveners, and we make sure that the process is moving forward. So the departments that are putting together the proposals or the projects based on the proposals that have been selected. So for Native Youth, past, present, future, the Office of Planning and Community Development, OPCD, has been working on that. People Not Police Crisis Response Team, the Community Assistance Response and Engagement, or CARE, is working with them with that proposal to develop it into a project. The 24/7 public restrooms, Seattle Parks and Recreation is working on that. Urban Farming and Food Equity, the Department of Neighborhood, is working with that primarily with support from the Office of Sustainability and Environment, OSE. Housing support and housing support for youth is being taken up by the Human Services Department. So I kind of talked about this. The essential next steps, which we're still in the middle of, is that the City Budget Office, or CBO, drafts legislation to move funds from Finance General, the particular account that these funds are in, to the different departments. Although the departments are working on the proposals and the projects, they don't have the funds yet. They're working on that to send that over to City Council. City Council will vote on the legislation and look at the proposals, adjust them, ask questions about them, make sure that they are in alignment with the work that they also like to see moving forward. Um, and then once departments get the funds, they will begin implementation, and it could look a lot of different ways of the proposals that were selected. They could either do it in-house by themselves, or they can ask other community organizations or organizations that have better expertise to do that. And usually that is through a request for proposals or an RFP process. The standalone legislation that I mentioned that will have to go to council is being worked in with the interdepartmental team, this new iteration. And like I said, it's really about putting together the legislation, making sure there's alignment across the different departments, and we are transparent. We're working closely with the city budget office on this process, and to ensure that this legislation is as good as it can be. We'll transmit the standalone legislation, and we're still in process of putting together all of the necessary elements of the standalone legislation. We'll transmit that to City Council, who will vote to allocate funds to the different city departments. And I'll just, this is another way of seeing it. A lot of the work of the IDT is to put together is also to put together a rating panel to work on to make sure that there are different raters that are representative of the community. The question, who are the reps? And let me, I can get to that in a minute. And I think we have some reps here, but I'll share that in just a moment. And so the big part, the most important piece for this is drafting the legislation. We're also working on making sure that there's just general alignment on the framing and the language and any other necessary elements that we need to make sure that there's alignment on in the IDT meetings. Let me just share one more slide. I'm almost done, and then I'll talk a little bit about who are the community reps. We want to make sure that you all are aware of where to see updates. Seattle's participatory budgeting process. Sage or John, if you could put the our website link, that website link in the chat so that people have it. There's also a way for folks to get updates through our mailing list. So please do that. It would be also helpful if all of you were able to follow us on Instagram and X, which is formerly Twitter. And also Facebook. Before I'll just stop sharing so I can see people and the chat. Just a